Hey everyone, welcome to the sessions. I'm Alan Friedman, a CPA with a firm called Friedman, Canterbury and Company, and we're in the music industry. I was really excited when the sessions asked me to do an interview with one of my favorite clients and friends, Rick Beato. We all know who Rick is. He's an engineer, he's a producer, he does a ton of different interviews of very famous musicians, and he's a YouTuber with over 5 million subscribers and growing every single day. I really love doing this interview because it shows the power of music and how people can actually have a career, not only making money in the music industry, but becoming successful and really enjoying themselves along the way. So I hope you enjoy this interview with Rick. I certainly did. Here we go. Welcome, everyone. We're here for the Sessions, which is an organization that is providing music education, especially on the business side of the music industry, to all their viewers. It's a wonderful organization, and we're actually here in honor of Dom Famularo, who used to host and do a lot of the interviews for the sessions, and Don passed away the past year. We are here in his honor doing this session. My name is Alan Friedman. I'm a CPA and a partner with a firm called Friedman, Canterbury and Company. We have a CPA firm in the music industry, and we're here with one of our clients, who is the infamous Rick Beato. Welcome, Rick.
Thank you, Alan. Appreciate it.
It's good to have you here. When they asked me to do this interview, I said, well, Rick's the guy usually doing the interviews, but they thought it'd be a great idea for you to be interviewed. And so here we are. And Rick, I want to start off by reading you something.
Okay.
In doing my homework.
I've been doing my own reading for years, Alan, but that's okay.
So I know you have. And you are always very well prepared for any interview that you do, but I thought I should do the same. So what I did was I went on the internet and went trolling for comments about you. And the first thing that came up was this question. It says, who the F is Rick Beato, and how does he get so many great interviews? I can't find much on the guy. Is he a famous producer, musician, or writer? I can't find any discography or major credits for him. Why are so many big names doing interviews with him? No idea why he's so popular on YouTube. It seems so random, honestly. Where did this guy come from? I found 3 responses among hundreds.
Okay.
These are probably my favorite ones, and I really dug these. The first one was, well, don't feel bad. None of us knew who he was before YouTube either, but I love Swerve Driver, so I flipped out when he claimed that they're one of his all-time favorite bands. His interview with Adam Franklin was a rare treat. His interview with Derek Trucks is another one you absolutely should not miss, and his interview with Daniel Lanois is another great one. It doesn't matter what kind of music you're into. If you play guitar, if you're just really into music, you will love Rick's interviews. Pretty nice.
I like that.
Second one, there's 3 altogether. He used to teach. He was a producer, session player with some decent credits. He had a band, and now he has a successful YouTube channel, and shutting up and letting the guests talk goes a long way. He knows theory like the back of his hand. He has a great reputation. He's pretty well researched, and he knows what he's talking about. So it doesn't matter who he's interviewing. The guy can interview anyone, basically any musical topic. And the last one, very short, but my favorite. His videos are amazing. His passion for music shines through all of his videos. Plus, he's got cool white hair, and a signature Gibson guitar is sick. I want you to talk about your childhood. Talk about your parents. I know you come from a big family. You're one of 7 kids.
Yep.
And your brother John's a guitar player as well. Mm-hmm. I hear he's better than you.
If you ask him.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit how you got started in this path of music.
My parents don't play instruments, but my mom is from a really musical family. Mm-hmm. 2 of her sisters were music teachers. One of her brothers was a bass player. Her dad my grandfather played guitar, not professionally, but
right.
So I remember people playing music from my first memories, going over to my grandparents' house and then playing music after dinner.
And what kind of music was it?
They're like traditional songs, things like that. And they so sometimes it'd be my Aunt Penny on the piano and my Aunt Marion maybe on the violin and my Uncle Al on the bass and my grandfather playing guitar. These are way back in the 60s. Yeah. And my dad was a really avid music listener. He had a big record collection. He loved jazz. That was his style of music. And we would always have music going on in the house. And my older siblings, I'm the 6th of 7, second youngest. And I really got into music because I took this thing called the Seashore Test when I was in 3rd grade at Northside School, elementary school.
We grew up both in upstate New York as well.
That's right.
Rochester, Albany.
Yeah. So I got into the string program playing the cello because I passed this music aptitude test.
Was that cool to play the cello at that time?
I thought it was.
Okay.
I didn't care what other people thought. I still don't.
Good for you.
Cello is incredibly cool.
That's awesome. I remember asking you because I know we both have this like deep love of the Beatles, and like that's where it started for me. I was 8 years old. Now I'm 69. You're 63. So I'm 6 years older than you. Notice how I did the math.
That was good, Alan.
Did you know that 57% of all accountants are really good in math, and the other half not so much? I don't know if you knew that. Bad accounting joke.
I hope you're in that 57%, Alan. I trust.
Yeah, something like that. But I remember asking you, because I was 8 years old, you were obviously 6 years younger, you were 2, so you weren't really experiencing the Beatles when the Beatles were big, but yet they left a profound impact on you. And how did that come to be?
My sister Pat was a massive Beatles fan. She's the oldest in the family, and so I remember when Beatles records were coming out in the '60s. Yeah. And I remember when "Hey Jude" was on the radio, and I remember the '60s. I have a pretty good memory.
Yeah.
So I do remember when the Beatles were releasing records.
You do. So you were a young kid when that happened.
I mean, I was 5 years old in 1968, 1967. 5 years old when I started kindergarten. I remember being five.
You're aware of that.
Sgt. Pepper's,
How old were you when you started playing the cello?
I was 9 years old.
Okay. So you started playing an instrument.
1971. I started playing the cello. So, I mean, the Beatles broke up a year before. So I was already playing, playing music right around the same time.
Never got bit by the rock and roll bug?
I started playing the guitar and when I was 14, I broke my ankle. 7th grade. Yeah. Or summer of 8th grade, I broke my ankle first week of the summer.
Made it hard to lug the cello around.
It did. So, and I switched to the bass in 7th grade.
Right.
And I broke my ankle, and there was a guitar that my brother got from one of his buddies that he paid $1 for.
Yeah. Do you remember what kind of guitar it was?
It was a Global.
Never heard of it.
It was a Global plywood guitar, cheap thing.
It's from Sears or something.
It was, and it was sitting there with a Mel Bay book, and I was stuck on the couch for the whole summer. Yeah. So I pick up the guitar, and I have pictures of chords. Learned how to read the chord grids, and I start playing them. As soon as I play a couple chords, I'm like, I recognize that. It's from this song. Or D major, that's from More Than a Feeling, or that's, whatever. So immediately could play songs because I had the calluses.
Right.
I didn't go through that period of my fingers hurt. So instantly, and I could play scales. And so I could immediately start to learn licks and stuff.
That's pretty awesome. So now you're playing cello at the age of 9, but you were into music at the age of 5. You were becoming aware of it. Were your parents listening to, was it classical?
My mom listened to a lot of classical music. My dad listened to jazz. I, having 6 older siblings, or 5 older siblings, they all listened to different music. Nobody liked the same music in our house, except for me and my younger brother, John, who's 4 years younger. Yeah. So as soon as I started playing the guitar, he started playing the guitar.
Would you show each other stuff, or you were more showing him? Then?
No, we both got guitar lessons at the same music store. Yeah. So my mom would drive us, and she'd sit there for an hour, and we both go into our lessons with different teachers. Oh, wow! And we were learning different stuff. But then we'd go home and we'd work on the same songs.
Yeah. So did you wind up in the school band?
I played the school orchestra the whole time, all the way through my undergrad when I was a bass major at Ithaca College.
Okay. So, and at some point you started picking up keyboards as well, piano.
I learned, we never had a piano at our house until the year I graduated from high school. Wow. After my first year of college, my parents got a piano. It's like, then you get a piano? So my brother John took piano lessons. He's the only one.
That's funny.
But I learned because we had pianos in the practice rooms at Ithaca College. I taught myself.
So you knew the power of music theory. You must have recognized early on that if I'm going to excel at this, I have to know music theory. I have to take lessons. I have to learn many different genres of music to really be proficient at them. I
Yeah,
assume.
well, my guitar teacher, I had a couple of I had 3 guitar teachers in high school. This guy, Tom Rizzo, I took a couple lessons with, then a guy, Mark Minetta, I took for about 6 months, and another guy, Glenn Cummings. And they all taught things like modes and scales over chords and chord voicings and arpeggios and licks.
That's very cool.
Yeah,
That's
so
very cool.
I knew music theory from that.
Wow, wow. Tell me the story about when you went to Ithaca College and you auditioned.
So I auditioned at 2 colleges. My guidance counselor said, you'll never get into school because I had a 1.8 GPA, roughly. I was a D student.
Yeah.
And I had about 800 on the SATs.
You know what my motto was in college? Get as far as you can by doing as little as you can. So
well, that was my motto in high school.
Okay, got it.
All right, so I had a gig the night before my SATs. I remember going to bed at 3 in the morning, and then I had to be up at 7, and it wouldn't have mattered if I got a good night's sleep either. Yeah. So I got about 800 in the SATs, and the guidance counselor, Mr. Kroll, you'll never get into college. So I didn't even bother applying anywhere at first. And all the seniors are applying. Oh, where are you going to school? Where are you going to school? I'm like, I'm not going to college.
Words are powerful. Right?
Words are powerful. Yeah. So, but then I heard some kids, in January of 1980, at the end, the second half of the school year, senior year. Oh, we're auditioning for school and music. Really? What are the requirements? And then showed me the requirements for Fredonia State and Ithaca College, because these were 2 schools that people were auditioning in. I had the books. There was no online. You just had these little brochures. And so I bring him into my teacher, and I said, these are the pieces that we have to learn. He didn't really know. Yeah. And so he shows me the stuff incorrectly. And he was a great player, but he wasn't a classical guitarist. Yeah. So I got rejected from both schools. Yeah. And I got into Ithaca College because I was good in track. That's funny. And I went, or not Ithaca College, I mean Fredonia State. And I went for 1 semester. And the beginning of the semester, this freshman guitar player taught me how to play classical guitar correctly. And I re-auditioned Phil Sasso.
Okay, all right.
And he had studied with a guy named Benjamin Verdery, who ended up being one of the best classical guitarists in the world. Wow. And he had great technique, and he taught me how to play proper classical guitar. Yeah. And I re-auditioned at Ithaca 5 weeks into the first semester. That's like, if you think about that with kids, oh, I'm re-auditioning, and then I got into Ithaca and I went there, and then I was teaching at Ithaca 5 years later.
Did you ever talk to your guidance counselor?
I did.
Okay.
I ran into him when I was substitute teaching at my old high school. Mr. Kroll, what's up? You remember me? He's like, Ricky? Mr. Beato, what are you doing here? I said, I'm substitute teaching here. Oh my God. I said, remember when you told me I'd never get into college? Yeah. Well, I'm finishing my master's degree right now.
Awesome.
And he said, good for you. He was a nice guy.
So then you wound up at New England Conservatory at some point, right?
Yeah, I did my master's there in jazz guitar.
Studies, right?
Yeah,
jazz
so
guitar.
I did undergrad in classical bass, master's in jazz guitar.
Okay, so you were 22, 23?
Yeah, 22, 23 when I went there.
Yeah, got it. And so you finished there.
I finished there, and
So you were up in Boston.
I was in Boston, and then I was going to move to New York to try to make it as a jazz player. Yeah. But I went back to Ithaca College, I went back to Ithaca because I had a bunch of buddies that were there. Yeah. And I went there just to hang out. Yeah. And I
start a band.
Well, no, I just moved there just to. Yeah. I was like, I'll figure out what I'm going to do. I'd go to Ithaca for a couple weeks. My buddy Tom Wadsworth was like, "You can come and hang out with us." I lived on some friend's couch. They put up some sheets in their living room, and I was like living on a couch. And the first week I was there, my old teacher Steve offered me the gig teaching at Ithaca College in the fall. And I thought about it for a couple of weeks, and I was like, okay, I'll do it. Wow. And that's it. Wow. It was just a random. Had I not moved there, I wouldn't have gotten the job offer. Probably. Well, maybe Steve would have called me anyways.
And you were there for how long?
For 5 years.
5 years. Wow. You probably learned a lot.
I did. I mean, it was weird being a teacher, especially at the beginning. You're 2 years older than the seniors, and you're their professor.
Your jazz knowledge is crazy. It's crazy. Maybe it's because mine is so lacking, but I'm so
it's a low bar with you.
Yes, it is, Rick. Yeah, it ends at rock, blues, and funk. Pretty much. After that, it's like classical. No, jazz. No. Who are some of your big jazz favorites? Charlie Parker, like kinds of
Charlie Parker, John Coltrane, Wes Montgomery, Joe Pass.
Yeah.
You know, I loved all the jazz guitar players, George Benson. A lot of the people that I've interviewed, Pat Metheny.
Yeah.
These were my idols.
Wow, that's very cool.
Yeah.
I wound up in college. I was at the University of Hartford, and we had the Hart School of Music.
Yeah.
And one of our teachers was Jackie McLean.
Yep.
And I thought, well, this might be cool if I take a jazz appreciation class.
And
first day, like minutes into the class, he says, name one of the most influential jazz musicians ever. So I raised my hand. I go, Herbie Hancock. He got mad at me. He goes, he sold out. He started yelling at me in front
Herbie's
of everyone.
one of the most.
Yeah. I don't know. That's right. Then I probably said Stanley Clark.
That was a good answer, Herbie.
I thought it was. He got mad at me for that. So it's kind of. So I figured, well, I should just stay away from jazz. Just stick to rock stuff. Okay, so I know at some point you were on your, because you've done so many things. You were on your way down to Texas for something.
I was going to move to Austin.
Okay.
In 1994, because I moved to a bunch of different places. I went to Chicago, then I went to Denver, then I went to Chapel Hill.
And what were you doing in all these places? Bands or teaching?
I went to London first for 5 weeks, or went to England. I toured around.
Wow.
So I was moving around the world basically, trying to find a place to start a band.
Got it.
So
was it going to be jazz band?
No, rock band.
Rock band.
Yeah.
Okay. So while your jazz studies and your jazz
okay,
teaching
so
was
I already had a publishing deal with Polygram at the time.
Wow.
I got signed to a publishing deal in 1992.
Okay.
The year that my last year of teaching at Ithaca, and that's why I quit, because I got a songwriter deal because I had written some songs with a buddy of mine in Ithaca, Alan. Yeah. And we got signed. We played a gig at CBGB's, and a guy named John Tita signed us to Polygram Publishing.
It was a rock band.
Rock band, yeah. And we wrote rock songs, and he was like, you guys are great songwriters.
What was in the vein, if you had to pick a band were you listening to?
Power pop, maybe.
Yeah, okay.
And so I wanted to do my own music.
Right.
So I wanted to find a place to move. So over the course of 2 years, basically, I moved around the country and lived a bunch of places and worked odd jobs. In New York City, I bartended on a boat, the Mariner 3 that went around when you got on at the World Trade Center. East River, went out to the Statue of Liberty, went up the East River, turned around, came back.
That's cool.
And then I
did they feed you at least?
They did.
Yeah, okay. That's good.
They did. But I had to. One of the things that I did. Jimmy Buffett was friends with the captain, and he rented out the boat for 2 days. Wow. And the captain made me learn how to make margaritas properly. So I made margaritas for Jimmy Buffett. But G.E. Smith was the band on the boat, and
all the Saturday Night Live guys.
Yeah, they were the band, and I was the bartender.
That's crazy.
Right? So I did that, and then I moved from there to Denver, and I worked in a sandwich shop, a deli shop, and I worked at the University of Denver cafeteria as a busboy.
Wow.
This is after I was a college professor and after I had a publishing deal. I was bussing tables with a hairnet and a polyester shirt.
It sounds like a step down, Rick.
It was kind of a step down, but did whatever I had to do.
YouTuber.
The step up was getting the job at the deli place making sandwiches. So I quit I quit being a busboy.
I hear you make a mean pastrami sandwich.
I was better with like turkey and avocado, but
so that's cool, a little healthier. That's good. So, okay, so you're in New York. You're roaming around the river as a busboy making margaritas.
And I was playing in 5 bands.
Yeah.
And I played at CBGB's one night, and this A&R guy that I knew from way back in '89, this guy named Howard Thompson.
Do you remember the label?
He was at Elektra Records. He was a senior VP. He signed 10,000 Maniacs. He signed a bunch of big bands. So Howard saw me. He's a British guy, and he's like, Rick, what are you doing playing with this guy? I was playing with some trio playing bass. He's like, what are you doing playing with this loser? Wow. And you're wasting your talent.
Yeah.
You should be doing your own music. And so the next day, I moved out of New York and I started heading different places. That's when I ended up heading down to Austin.
Right.
And I stopped in Atlanta to have lunch with my old college roommate, Doug Sandberg.
Okay, and I hear about Doug all the time.
Yes.
Right.
So Doug
the funny thing with Rick and I is that all my dearest friends who are musicians are all Italian. Yours are all Jewish.
That's right.
Right. So Doug, it was down in Atlanta.
Yep.
You're coming through. You're on your way to Austin, and you're coming down to just have lunch with him.
No, I'm coming down, and it was about 11 o'clock, and I thought, I wonder if Doug's around.
Yeah.
It's around lunchtime, and I was like, Doug, I'm at this place called the Lenox Mall. Is that anywhere near you? He goes, my office is right across the street. See that black building?
Yeah.
And
what does Doug do?
Doug is still a lawyer.
He's still a lawyer. Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Okay.
And so he went to Emory Law School after Ithaca College.
Right.
And so he got me a gig that night. He called a friend of his. He's like, hey, one of my buddies in town. He's heading over here to have lunch with me. Do you have a gig you can hire him for tonight?
God,
I want him to stay in town. So this buddy, Francisco's like, yeah, I got a gig. He can play bass and fill in tonight. So Doug, I get over to his office. 5 minutes later, Doug's like, oh, I got you a gig for tonight. I was like, what are you talking about? I'm heading to Austin after lunch.
Did you have a bass with you by any chance?
No.
Okay.
Francisco had a bass, and he's like, you have a rehearsal at 2 o'clock, so we got to hurry up and eat lunch.
Wow.
And so
it's a rock show, basically?
It's a rock show, playing covers.
Yeah.
Incorrectly.
Do you remember some of the tunes you were doing?
Brown Eyed Girl, and I mean, just whatever you play. It was a bar rock, basically.
Gotcha.
So I played about 10 gigs the first week I was here, and then that was it. I stayed. I got a job teaching in a music store, teaching guitar lessons, and here I am.
And here you are. Okay. So at some point, you migrated from playing out with bands. You probably still were doing that, but you started doing engineering and producing. I don't know how that all started.
So that happened after my record deal. I put together my band Billionaire with
that was
the
just
singer Mark.
about that.
Yeah, so that happened in the fall of '96. Mark and I, the singer Mark Tompkins, and I wrote 9 songs that we demoed, and I didn't really know how to demo. We made some terrible sounding demos.
Where'd you record them?
I borrowed a
Tascam?
a Tascam from a buddy, but a DA88.
88, yeah.
That's right.
It was a DAT-based.
DAT-based.
Yeah, right.
That's right.
Recorder.
8-track recorder, digital recorder. And I had this little Sansamp box that I plugged my guitar into, and I had a bass at my friend Rich's house, Rich Levy, who I lived with. And so we made this demo, and then we did one rehearsal with this bass player Walter and a drummer Darren that were friends of ours. Mark played in a band with Walter before, and that was the band.
Wow.
We played a gig about a week later.
Crazy.
And then within 2 weeks, we were in the studio and we recorded 5 songs. It was our blue demo tape that we started shopping the labels.
So those are all original tunes, right? Okay.
And we ended up making a record within the first year that we paid for on our own.
And some A&R guy come out?
Yeah, we had a bunch of A&R people. Yeah. We had a couple labels that were interested in signing us, and the labels that wanted to sign us, most of them wanted to use our record, which we probably should have done.
Right.
And then we ended up trying to remake the songs, which turned out terribly.
Yeah.
And then it didn't matter because our record came out and we got dropped because there was all the consolidation started happening.
Yeah.
Universal bought out our label.
All the time.
That's right.
People have deals and all of a sudden their A&R guy leaves or there was a merger of labels and what have you. So, okay, so you got this band, you're playing out, but no record label.
Well, we had exhausted our budget, and so I had no money, and I had 4 months until our record came out. That's when my lawyer, Reed, he wasn't really our band's lawyer, he was my buddy.
Right.
Reed was like, I remember he was up on his roof, fixing his roof. He had a bandana on, and I'm talking to him. He's like, what are you going to do? He was like putting shingles on his roof. I'm not sure why.
So Reed was down here in Atlanta, because he then moved to New York.
He moved to New York.
Okay.
So Reed said, "Why don't you produce bands?" I was like, "What are you talking about? You can't make money with these." He's like, "Yeah, you can." I was like, "I got a band that needs some better demos. Grab the cassette on your way out and listen to it, and then call them. Tell them they need better demos." And they were a band called Left Front Tire, and a song from my first session ended up in the American Pie 2 soundtrack.
No kidding.
Yes.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yep.
See, I think I know everything about you, and I learn something new every time I talk to you.
So literally my first session, and that was like a double platinum record.
Right. Okay, so no record deal, but you're hanging out in Atlanta, you're playing out. You recorded at a couple studios.
At one studio, King Mattress.
Okay.
And one of the guys that owned the studio, Jimmy Bird, he is the one that helped build the studio. He basically designed the studio.
And what year is this? What year is this?
So this is 1998. We made the record.
Okay.
1998 to 1999. We got signed in 99.
Right.
At the beginning of 99, made the record starting in February.
Yeah.
Didn't finish it until probably June.
Right.
It was a disaster. And then the record didn't come out till September, and then it came out and we were dropped to 4 weeks later.
Oh my God. Wow.
But I started producing in that time period. I got about 10 producing gigs.
Wow.
In those 4 months.
Okay.
And then once we got dropped, I just kept producing.
Wow.
So
and you wound up producing some notable acts. You did Shinedown. I know.
Yep.
Who else were you producing, or had you produced at that time?
Well, I was the guy that found bands, and I probably had 25 bands that I produced that I did their demos, and they got record deals, and I didn't produce the record.
Wow.
So
you did the demos,
and then
but not
all
the record.
those bands flopped.
Yeah.
And why did they flop?
Because you weren't doing it, because you weren't producing.
Well, because I played all the parts on the records. Or should I say I fixed all the parts? No, that's not always the case. But,
I'm sure that's not the case.
Quite a number of times I had A&R people saying, okay, how much did you play? When they were going to go see a band, they would think, how much did you play on it?
Yeah, right.
And if it was like, played everything on it, okay, never mind, then pass. But I had probably over 20 bands get signed to record deals, and none of them I produced.
Wow. Okay, so was this when you started getting your engineering chops? This is obviously, because, like, again, like you live these certain, you have these expertises, and it's not just music educator, performer, you're like an unbelievable engineer. Your knowledge of gear is ridiculous. I talked to you about microphones, miking techniques, mic pre's, compressors, all that stuff. So where just on the job training? Is that
so? In '95, one of my things was that I would get calls to fill in for people in major label bands. Hey, we need a bass player for one gig. Will you go up to Detroit and fill in for this band Orbit? They need a bass player literally for one gig. So I go up to this the studio up in Detroit, and there's the engineer Ben Gross, great engineer, worked with band Filter, did a bunch of big records. Yeah. And Ben had a great studio there, and all the stuff was mic'd up. I started asking him questions about how he did stuff. Yeah. And I'm writing a book, and Ben might have been secretive, but I was so dumb when it came to this that he was like, he's never going to do anything. And I'm writing stuff down, like, what is on the snare? Oh, it's a 57 and a 420. What's a 57? Who makes that? Yeah. He's like, sure. Can I write this down? Yeah, go ahead. What's the mic next to it? It's an AKG 451. Little did he know that I remember everything. Right. For AKG 414 on the top of the tom, a Sennheiser 421 on the bottom of the toms. Everything he said. He had B&K 4011s for the overheads, and I literally wrote everything down, but I remembered it. So when I started engineering, I was like, what did Ben do? His record sounded great, so I just did what he did.
Wow. I have to tell everybody a quick little story. So, like, of late, it's just easier. I've recorded 5, 6 records. I'm working on my 7th now, and frankly, it's just a lot easier to use certain profiling boxes or emulation boxes or certain plugins and stuff like that.
Even though Alan has 100 guitars
and I got a lot of amps, I got a lot of really cool amps, and I said, you asked me, like, what are you getting that record? How are you getting that sound? And I go, well, I'm using a Kemper or whatever the flavor was. And you got very angry with me. You go, dude, you got a 412 cabinet, take out a 57 and either a ribbon mic or no, I think Sennheiser 421. I think that's your go-to.
Well, whatever.
421 and
put a couple mics in the cabinets, find a good spot, and get a sound and play it yourself.
The guilts work because now, like, I feel really guilty plugging into anything.
Well, Alan, you have your own studio, so you can leave the stuff set up.
I know. I have to have you come over and make sure it's put in the right spot.
Oh, there you go.
So you're learning about gear. You're learning about mic pre's, compressors.
Well, I've quickly found out when I'm producing these bands that they have really poorly set up guitars and basses and drums. Their drums are out of round, so they're impossible to tune. So I was like, okay, I'm going to buy a snare for this session so that we get a good snare sound. So I went to Guitar Center. Yeah. I find a great sounding snare drum, and I bring it and said, no, we're going to use this. And then it's like, I'm going to buy a whole drum set. We're going to use this. And I kept it. At this place, Tree Sound, that I rented a couple rooms at. Right. And then I started collecting amplifiers. I had amps and guitars from Billionaire. Right. And so I would use my own gear for a lot of the stuff. And then I started learning how to do it.
It's a kind of a stupid question. How much of it is the gear and how much of it is your ears?
It's all your ears, pretty much.
Right.
It's in the hands and the ears.
Right. Okay.
But I mean, if you have a really bad sounding instrument and stuff, you can't get a good. It's almost impossible to get a good sound.
Got it. Okay. All right. So you're engineering stuff. You're
and I'm studying records all the time. Alan, trying to recreate stuff. So my engineer or assistant Ken, who still comes in all the time, we would on days off. I would pay him to come in, and we would try and emulate the snare drum of a certain record and a bass drum of a certain record, and you know, and guitar sounds and stuff like that. We'd experiment with every possible miking technique on all different.
That's crazy.
Guitar amps and cabinets.
Wow. You know, it's funny because you and I, aside from your love of jazz and classical and everything, when we start talking about rock, we love the same records. I know your favorite records. It's like pretty much any Beatle record. The Stones records, like the whole
Stones, Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, The Police, everything.
And it's amazing because in some of your videos, you know, it's amazing like how you break down. I remember you did a whole breakdown on Ramble On and how you were getting the acoustic guitar sound, electric guitar sound. So like I could, you know, it's apparent that you know gear, and I love that you know gear. So you're producing, you're engineering, okay, but things are slowing up. The work's slowing up a little bit because I know it came 2014, 2015. There wasn't a ton going on at that time.
Yeah,
the world was changing musically.
Yeah, world was changing. Rock music was kind of going out of fashion, so there was not as many projects to work on. I was doing a lot of singer-songwriters and things like that, and so a lot of that was people would come to me. I had a #1 country song in 2013, and people would come to me as a writer a lot. So I would be doing songwriting demos with songwriting sessions with people and doing the demos.
Right.
And then a lot of singer-songwriters would come in because I could play all the instruments and I would make records where I played everything. And that was fun for me. I loved doing that.
Wow. How was it financially?
You know, without the budgets like we used to have, it was tough. You know, it was tough tough to make ends meet.
Right. Like a lot of session work was starting to go away. First, like, you know, as we talk to clients, you know, whereas there's a whole transformance of reduction of session work, increase of performance work. So that was, when did you get married?
2007.
Okay, so now you've got a wife.
3 kids.
Yeah, you're starting a family. And
so by the time I started YouTube, 2015 was a big year.
That's where I'm going.
I had this viral video with my son.
Let's talk about that. And I said to you today, I said, you owe everything to your son, Dylan.
I do.
Yeah, right.
So Dylan, when he was 3, which would be 2010,
right.
I'm driving in the car with him, and we had been listening to a lot of John Williams soundtracks. Wow. And I talked to Joe Williams, and I told him this actually a couple weeks ago when I saw him. And I said to Dylan, hey, Dylan, sing Star Wars. And I always laughed that Dylan would sing along. Like I found a video of Dylan singing Black Dog the other day where he's singing the melody. He's singing the guitar riffs along with it. And I didn't think anything of it. It's like, oh, Dylan's got a good ear like I have. But he was 2 at the time.
Right.
So he's 3 years old. Sing Star Wars. He sings and I was like, that's definitely in the right key. So I check it on my phone. I was like, sing the Superman theme. And he sings that. Different key, starts on G. So Dylan sings that.
But he's singing it all.
Singing it in the exact key. So I did 3 songs, and I would turn the car around immediately. I was like, there's no way. Dylan must have perfect pitch. So I come in here, I go to the piano there, and I play a B flat. He goes, Star Wars. Starts on a big B flat major chord. I hit the note G, he goes, Superman. That starts on the note G on the trumpet.
Wow.
Then I played the note C, and he's like, the Excavator song. It's this other...
I don't even know
video
what that is.
It's like a thing that he watched on YouTube.
The Excavator.
And so I said, okay, so anytime you hear the Star Wars note, it's called B flat. Got that? He's like, yeah. The Superman note's called G. Okay. The Excavator song is C. And then I played another note. He's like, that's from Indiana Jones. Like the note E is the starting note. So then in 5 minutes, I teach Dylan all 12 notes.
Unbelievable.
But it was weird because he could only tell the notes in 1 octave for a few days.
Okay.
And then a few days, but instantly any note I could play. And then a couple
that octave.
Then a couple days later, I was like, Dylan, you hear this note? He's like, C. I said, this is also C. Oh, this is also C. This is C. This is C. This is C. And then he's like, oh. And then
It glued together.
Then instantly perfect pitch.
Yeah.
Any register that I play it in.
Wow.
Can you do 2 notes? Can you do 3 notes, 4 notes, 5 notes, 6 notes, 7 notes, 8 notes? No problem.
Crazy. Wow.
So fast forward to 2015.
How old is he? He's at this point?
He's 8.
8, right.
So
with
when
a
he was
lot of gum or
he had candy in his mouth. So
yeah.
I started teaching him music theory when he was 3.
Yeah.
So I'd be like, Dylan, when you hear C, E, and G together, it's a C major chord, okay?
Yeah.
G, B flat, D is G minor. You know, D flat augmented is D flat FA. You know, C sus4 is C, F, G. All different kinds of sus2, sus4s, major 7th chords, major 7 sharp 5, dominant 7th chords, you know, sharp 9, sharp 5 chords, everything. And he
unbelievable.
And he just could recognize anything.
Yeah,
so I had this buddy Shane I was producing, and I was like, check this out, Shane. Dylan walked down. I was like, I can play a chord. And Dylan's like, you know, A minor over D flat major. And it's like, what? Sing all the notes in the chord, Dylan. He sings them, and I play them. Shane's like, wow, that's amazing. So at the end of the day, he's like, can you make a video so I can show my wife, Angie? I was like, sure. So I'm getting ready to go to a school board meeting. I'd say, Dylan, can you come downstairs? I want to do something. No. It's going to take 1 minute. I don't want to.
Yeah.
Nina, will you tell Dylan to come downstairs? For what? I want to make a video so I can show Shane's wife, Angie, this. She's like, how long will it take? I said, 1 minute. It was actually 1:20. Yeah. So I put my iPhone on a little music stand, and we did the video and put it up. 80 million views later, whatever, you know, it was like.
So this thing, okay, talk about like how it went viral. Like you go to the school board meeting.
At a school board meeting, and Shane keeps calling me, and I was like, what? Because I called him on the way there. I said, I'd put the video up for Angie, and I had 30 followers on Facebook. And so then
30 followers.
30 followers. And it's like, why does Shane keep calling me? You know, I'm in the middle of a school board meeting. Yeah. So I call him after I leave. I said, what's up? Why are you calling me? He's like, man, the video's viral. It's like, what do you mean? It's got 5,000 views. It's like, that's not a viral video, is it? He goes, you only have 30 followers. Then the next morning he calls me. He's like, have you seen the video? I said, no, what's going on? He says, 22,000 views. Wow. He said, it's viral. I'm telling you, wait till tonight. So that night it had, you know, like 3 million.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and then it just started getting, and it was getting like 10,000 views a minute.
Yeah. I'm a million of those 3 million, by the way. I want you to know that, because I watch that all the time. I show everybody that. It is pretty amazing. I remember there's always these haters. They're going, he must have told him what the chords are going to be.
I'm having Dylan sing. I'm asking him to sing notes while I'm holding down these complex chords.
And I love like a couple times he goes, like he's listening. He's listening for, like, some of them he just rattles them off. And another one he waits a couple seconds.
Well, there's one chord I played with 2 chords in inversion. It was A flat major over A major.
And he kind of corrects himself, right?
He's like, A flat major over A major.
Yeah.
Because they were both in inversion.
Yeah, you can't fake that stuff.
No.
You can't fake that. Okay, so now you got a kid who's gotten you some attention. You got a video that's going viral.
We were at Costco with the 3 kids, and some guy's like, oh my God, it's Dylan. Right? And
not Rick,
Dylan's 8.
Dylan.
And so Dylan was like, what's wrong with that guy? Yeah. The guy comes over to us. It's like, Rick and Dylan. Everybody didn't know my name, but it's like, it's Dylan.
Yeah.
And
Dylan and Dylan's dad.
Dylan and Dylan's dad.
Yeah, right.
or the old guy that might be Dylan's grandfather. And but then I had people writing to me, a lot of famous musicians. Can I teach them how to do that? And when I started YouTube 6 months later,
so it took you 6 months to figure out what to do.
Well, I was still working on projects and stuff, and I started making some videos on Facebook, and then they started getting taken down. Because I used music, copyright stuff. Yeah. Rhett Shull was working here, and he's like, you should put this stuff on YouTube. I said, I don't know how to,
post a video on YouTube.
Well, I don't know how to edit a video.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll come over with my camera and I'll shoot your trailer, your video trailer. I was like, what is that? He said, every YouTube channel has a trailer.
Right.
So he comes over and we do some B-roll and stuff. He starts a tape machine, films. I mean, he's been working here for 3 years or so.
Oh, wow.
So he's taking B-roll of some stuff, and
I didn't know that.
And so
was he like a studio rat? He
had been in a band that I worked with, and his dad asked me if he could come over and intern here.
Wow. Okay.
And he did for about 3 years or so.
Wow.
And so he edited the trailer on his laptop in the control room, and he finished it. We loaded it up June 2nd, 2016. And then about 6 days later, June 8th, 2016, I called Red. I was like, I put up my first video. He's like, what? On what? I said, ear training.
Wow.
What else am I going to make it on?
Right, exactly.
And that video now has a couple million views, that first video. So I started making a video every couple days, and I've kept doing that for 9 years.
Wow. All right, so how did you get one of my heroes, Peter Frampton? That was your first real important artist, right, interview, if
Yes,
you will.
I went to the AES show in 2018. I met a guy named...
In New York?
In New York.
Yeah, got it. Okay.
Javits Center.
Yeah.
I met a guy named Don Werschbaugh who worked for SSL.
Okay.
Who I have to email Don back now, actually. He emailed me today. And Don said, Rick, I loved your video on Peter Frampton. He's a good friend of mine.
Wow.
I sold him his console.
Unbelievable.
And so he's like, would you like to interview Peter? I said, oh my God, yes. He goes,
what did you do,
him.
like what makes a song great?
I did some type of breakdown of one of his solos or something, right? And
I have to tell you something, Peter Frampton, I saw him on the, very quick story, I saw him in 77, on the Frampton Comes Alive tour. I met him years later at an AM show. I said, Peter, do you remember this? I saw you at Cole Park. It was Humble Pie opened, Gary Wright, and then Peter Frampton. He comes out, running on the stage. The place goes nuts. I mean, the album had exploded. He's wearing this pink satin pants and matching jacket. It was kind of open. Comes running out, waves the crowd, slips and falls off the stage. Drops like 10 feet. And like we're all like freaked out and everything. Somehow they got him up. He came out a minute or two later, played awesome. I mean, he was really that good. Met him years later. I said, do you remember that show? He goes, yeah, I remember that show. I cracked 3 ribs and I was in a lot of pain.
Oh my God.
And I still
trying to sing and hold a Les Paul against your ribs.
Yes, not a light guitar.
Right.
But he was awesome. And we always loved him. I love him more now than ever before. He's a great guitar player.
Oh my God, amazing. Songwriter, singer, and guitarist. One of the best. So Don connected me with him. About 3 days later, I drove up to Nashville with my friend Shane.
Wow.
That had me make the video for his wife because Shane knew how to film stuff. So I was like, Shane, will you come up and help me film this thing?
With Peter Frampton.
So he brought his camera and I brought my camera and I set it up and I had a little Zoom mic there. Peter must have been thinking, boy, this is pretty low budget.
Yeah.
Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
But video actually looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I didn't even know how to color grade or anything, so it's a little orange maybe, but...
And he was as nice as he
Oh my
appears
God,
on film,
it was amazing.
right? Yeah.
The first thing he did was he handed me the black Les Paul, and I held it for a second and I handed it back to him.
Wow. So he had gotten it back at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's
But
a
he
whole
was
story.
playing guitar in his live room when I walked in. I was like,
wow. Yeah. Amazing.
So that was
Totally
really
amazing.
exciting.
So, okay, so Peter Frampton, obviously you get some buzz off of that, I imagine.
Yeah.
And then early on you had done Sting as well. That was pretty
No, so Sting started probably, I would say 2021 was Sting.
Was it that late?
Yeah, because I had done Peter and then...
Peter was what year?
2018.
Okay.
And I had not really done... I did a few Zoom
Yeah.
things or Skype interviews
Right.
and everything with
But you
bunch
must
of
have been
people.
doing a lot of what makes a song great.
I had started
at that
doing that
time.
in 2018
I
in
remember
January.
some like amazing ones. I think you had done Rosanna. You had done "Carry On Wayward Son" by Kansas. You had done. I know you're a
did
big
Kid
Boston.
Charlemagne.
Yes, and you're a huge Steely Dan.
Yeah,
fan,
so I mean, the first one was a Blink 182 video. Then I did a Police one. Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic was my second one. Then I think Rosanna was my third one.
Wow.
And or Kid Charlemagne was my third one. Rosanna was the fourth one.
Yeah.
I just kept doing all these different styles. I do
Yeah.
metal, rock,
Crazy.
you know, the 70s stuff, all
Blink
these different,
182.
you know.
When my son had a band, Jeremy, in the studio, he'd come downstairs and he would be playing some Blink 182 or 3. It had to have a number. Sum 41, Blink 182, 311, Avenged Sevenfold. I go, can't you play some Hendrix or Stones or Beatles? Anyways, okay, so you start doing those.
Yeah.
And then how did the interviews start coming
Well,
about?
once I started doing those in 2018, January of 2018, I started getting 1,000 subscribers a day. And it's really, since then, it's always been that or more.
And if there was one thing that generated the subscriber increase than another during that era, was it What Makes a Song Great?
It was
the music
those,
theory? Was
and
it,
then, well, the music theory and all the jazz stuff got me to about 200,000.
Yeah.
When I started making these videos, the song breakdowns, because I had never done anything related to production or song breakdowns until then. So I started doing that, and then, you know, the subscribers start, you know, piling up at that point.
Right.
Then it's 300,000, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then in 2019, in August, I hit 1 million.
Yeah.
And then 2 million, then 3 million, then 4 million, then 5 million. You know, by the time I had Sting, I was at about 2 million subscribers.
Yeah.
And I did Pat Metheny and Sting and a bunch of people in 2021. Then David Bendeth called me and said, you really need to interview. You really should focus on that.
Yeah.
On interviewing people.
He was right.
And I said, why? He said, because you're the only one that can do all these different styles you have the platform.
Yeah, you do. You have the knowledge base. You're a good interviewer. I'm not just saying that. You really are. You ask the right questions. I saw an interview that you had done that I won't mention who it was, but he was tough. This particular person was you know, you'd ask him a question, it was like yes, no, whatever, you know, like there were short answers, and he was kind of quiet, reserved, and everything. Yet the interview was great. You had gotten him to talk and gotten him to speak. You really have a knack for that.
We have to find the rhythm with the people.
Yeah, and they're more. What's awesome, they're more conversations than anything else, and that's what really makes it great. Talk about your love of Steely Dan. You were on a mission to interview a lot of people associated with Steely Dan, and especially the record Asia.
Well, I tried to interview everybody that played played on Steely Dan records. I've interviewed a lot of them.
You have.
Not Donald Fagen yet.
Yeah, right.
I love those Steely Dan records, and I love session players, and I love producers and engineers and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's the pinnacle of that is Steely Dan. Really.
You've done Larry Carlton, you've done Bernard Purdy. Yeah.
Chuck Rainey, Michael Mardian, Jay Graydon, Denny Diaz, Dean Parks. I've had you know,
a lot. Steve
Gadd.
Yeah,
I've had pretty much you know, many more than that too. I've had Tom Scott.
Asia.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, it's just
amazing.
Come on, that was 1 or 2 takes, I think. It just Tom Scott. Yeah, Michael McDonald. Some amazing interviews. Any funny ones that they were just that wound up just being in a good way, funny, or just something that you know just stuck out?
Well, ones that I find that it's interesting to see people that are great storytellers. Some of the Daniel Lanois was an amazing storyteller. Rick Rubin, great story. A lot of the producers, Butch Vig, Brendan O'Brien, these people that make records, because they have the personalities to get along with all different kinds of bands. It's fun to talk to producers. It's fun to talk to session players because they plan more records than the guys in the bands do. Right. Because they're playing with everybody. Steve Lukather is on 1 million records. Larry Carlton, all these people.
I'm biased. There's 2 or 3 of them that I really, really love. I love anything that you do with Luke. I love anything to do with Leland Sklar. He's so smart, and he tells great stories.
He's an amazing storyteller. All these guys are great storytellers. In addition to being great players, right? You have to be able to get hired back as a session player. Not only do you have to play great parts, but you have to be a great hang.
Right. I'll tell you who else I love that you've done. He's colorful. Is Nuno Bettencourt. I mean, he's like the Eddie of our time now, and he's always very, very colorful in those interviews. But they're great. They're they're fantastic. So where do you go from here? Like, you're old now.
I was 54 when I started. I'm 63 and a half.
Yeah. What advice do you have for young people who want to get in the music industry? It's not just, getting signed, and there's a lot of different jobs you can get in the music industry. A lot of vocations.
I would say that nowadays you have to be good at telling stories, and social media is such a. It's hard to say that. I mean, it's really, that's such a big part of being success in music.
Right.
And in a lot of different ways, there's jobs like YouTubers or Instagrammers or TikTokers.
Right.
And it helps if you're an artist as well to develop your develop a fan base, and that's what it's about. That's what labels are looking for.
Let's talk about the dirty topic of the music industry.
AI. Right.
I remember when you first started doing videos on AI, and one thing you said, and I remember it, and I will always remember it, like it or not, people are going to use it.
That's right. And that's the case now.
Yeah.
It's a tool.
Yeah.
I know people that have a song that they've written.
Yeah.
That I had somebody recently, a friend of mine, that wrote a song with another writer, and he played the demo, and it was a great demo. He's like, "Yeah, I made it with AI." He had the song, the chords, the melody, and the lyrics already done.
Right.
And he said, "I want a country singer to do this, male country singer.
Yeah.
I want pedal steel in it, and here's the lyrics, here's the melody, these are the chords," and it made the demo. And it was a great demo, and he didn't have to hire, unfortunately, a group of Nashville guys to do the demo for him.
Right.
And it was done in 2 minutes.
One of my favorite ones, and I show it to a lot of people, is the one that you did in Nashville. And you showed what Nashville session players are all about. And the thing I love about that is that they're all playing their instruments.
Yeah.
And it came together so quickly. You showed the whole process. Talk about that. I know you have a relationship with Tom Bukovic.
Yeah, so Tom, when I was going up to Nashville, I was going up to interview Bela Fleck. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go up the day before, and I said, let me do a video with Tom Bukovic. And I call him up. I was like, Tom, can you get together a few session players, different instruments, and we'll just sit and talk, and we'll talk about things. He's like, why don't you just produce a song? We'll get a song, and I'll get some guys to play. I was like, oh, okay, great. So he called Daniel Tashian.
Song. I really dug it. Really great song.
So
it's real music.
Yeah, and he put together a great group of players.
Yeah.
And we tracked a song live with live singing.
Yeah.
And it was basically 3 takes, but it's pretty much 1 take.
Yeah. Okay, is Billionaire going to be playing live anyplace?
We'll see.
Okay.
Hope
But
so.
you're close, though. You're close.
We're close to having a finished record.
Rock record?
Yeah.
Ballads? Any ballads?
We have some kind of mid-tempo songs that might,
they're
not really ballads, so.
All right, I asked you this once when I was here, and you got mad at me for asking, because it was such it's a typical question, but I'm going to ask you again. I'll narrow it down. You're on a desert island, you can only have 5 records, and they can't be classical and they can't be jazz. They have to be rock records. What are your 5?
Oh, boy. It's tough.
You want me to give you my 5?
Yeah, give me your 5, Alan.
Rubber Soul.
I'd take that one.
Let It Bleed by the Rolling Stones. Carole King Tapestry.
Well, that's a great one.
This will surprise you. Neil Young After the Gold Rush.
Ooh, great record.
And probably, there's a Zeppelin record in there. That's hard. I won't say Physical Graffiti because that's cheating. It's 2 records. I would probably say, the record I really didn't love when it first came out was 3, and I love that record now. Gallows Pole and Immigrant Song. I probably would pick, probably 4, just because. Or Houses of the Holy. One of those. It's hard to pick.
Very hard to pick.
Right,
I don't think I could. I don't think I could.
Make an attempt.
Revolver.
Okay.
Okay. Since you took Rubber Soul, I'll take Revolver.
Right.
I might take Exile on Main Street.
Great record.
Well, because it's a double record,
Right,
I get more music to listen to.
Right.
Oh boy, I'd probably take a Zeppelin record that would. I might take Zeppelin 1.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Iconic.
I thought about Zeppelin 2.
Yeah.
I might take Zeppelin 1 because I just interviewed Glenn Johns.
Yeah, that's cool.
Maybe a Joni Mitchell record, Shadows and Light, double record.
Right.
I have to do these double records, Alan.
Yeah, because there's twice as much music.
That's right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You can pick a Chicago record, too.
I could pick a Chicago record. I could pick Can't Buy a Thrill, Steely Dan first record.
Yeah.
Although there's so many great Steely Dan records to pick. But I want to pick stuff that has really dense things that you can listen to over and over again.
The one runner-up record, because my favorite guitar player, after you, Rick, of course, is Steve Lukather. Mm-hmm. Will always be Steve Lukather. And so I really should pick a Toto record. And I told him, I saw him last week, I said, and it's the one that the critics panned. There's a record they did, it was their 3rd record called Turn Back. It's a brilliant record. Bobby Kimball singing all of it, and it's just there's some. We were very lucky. I sound like the old grandpa, but we grew up at a time when this was all new, it was original. I mean, think about the bands we were listening to, like Jethro Tull or Kansas, and then Fusion, all the Return to Forever.
I mean, oh my God! And I think about Trick of the Tail, and now you start. I think of all these prog rock records that I love.
Yeah.
I could listen to Rush Hemispheres or Rush Farewell to Kings. I could listen to. There's just so many records, and I'm not even to the 80s.
Yes songs.
I'm not even to the 80s
record.
yet.
Yeah, right,
Alan.
right.
Frampton Comes Alive, and Journey Escape.
Yeah.
And
They're all
Van Halen. Come on.
Oh my God, I know.
First Van Halen record, second Van Halen.
Yeah.
Basically any Van Halen record.
Crazy. Okay, we're here at the Sessions. It's all about educating young musicians, aspiring musicians about the music industry. And if there's one pearl of wisdom that you have that you would give to a young aspiring artist or someone who wants to get into, they love music, they want to be part of the music industry, is there anything that you would impart that you've learned over the years?
Learn as much as you can about what you're interested in, and as broad of a knowledge base as you can get. Don't get locked into one genre of music. Right. Don't get locked into hip hop or rock or metal or jazz or whatever. Learn about everything you can. Learn about engineering, learning about mixing, learn about how to run Pro Tools or Logic. In addition to learning your instruments, try to do it all if you can.
That's awesome. Everybody, thank you so much, Rick.
Thanks,
I really
Alan.
appreciate it. This was really awesome. I love hanging out with you. And on behalf of the Sessions, we thank you so much for this beautiful interview.
Dom Famularo here, the Sessions panel. This is so exciting. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Click the subscribe button to be a part of what we're doing. The views help us tremendously. All of your comments, we read them and react to them. This is incredible. The support you're giving us is great. The Sessions panel, we'll see you real soon.